Malta's best-known investigative journalist, Daphne Caruana Galizia, has been killed in a car bomb near her home.
On Monday, she was killed in a car bomb attack.
And a remote control device explodes underneath Daphne's car, and the journalist is dead.
And he just said, "You've got to come now, there's a bomb in Mum's car." And I just picked up my keys and ran.
Daphne Caruana Galizia was an investigative journalist in Malta, specialising in political corruption. On the 16th of October 2017, she was assassinated in a car bombing that shocked the nation and the world. As per the nature of her work, Daphne had many enemies. But who killed this inspirational and fearless reporter? To understand this story, we need to discuss the history of Malta. Malta was a part of the British Empire until 1964, when it became independent. Since the 1970s, Malta has been a democracy and joined the EU in 2004. A tiny island in the Mediterranean with a population of just over 500,000, Malta is one of the smallest countries in the world.
Now, Malta is a small place. We all know each other. So everything that Paula has ever done in her life is brought into this forum and then brought out and used against her, manipulated to suit that agenda, and Paula is attacked from all fronts.
This culture of everyone knows everyone makes it very hard for people to come out and complain about the government or espouse controversial views.
Being a 16-year-old in a very small country which has the sort of vibe that everyone knows everyone, and just seeing complete strangers tear apart your insecurities, yes, it hurt at first.
But Daphne wasn't afraid of this. Her blog, read by thousands throughout Malta, unearthed some huge corruption scandals in the country, including Energy Minister Konrad Mitzi's links to a mysterious company mentioned in the Panama Papers.
Those two companies, the one owned by Konrad Mitzi, Minister for Energy, and Keith Kembry, Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, were due to receive considerable bribes and kickbacks amounting to something like $5,000 a day.
One of her investigations looked into the company Electrogas, part owned by multimillionaire Jorgen Fennick. Daphne unearthed the deal between Malta and the energy company with incredibly unfavourable terms.
She worked on the story of Malta's decision to award to a consortium, 1/3 owned by the state-owned company, gas company of Azerbaijan, an exclusive energy supply contract for 18 years under unfavorable terms.
Paying 7 times as much for gas as the rest of Europe as a result of this disgusting deal, which was made by Joseph Muscat and his cronies, for them to pocket allegedly €5,000 a day in kickbacks. We are paying 7 times as much, and people, it still hasn't registered that is a terrible, terrible thing, and that is money, that is money that is being stolen from us.
But Daphne never finished her research.
Monday afternoon, Daphne Caruana Galizia leaves home. 2 explosions are heard, creating a ball of fire inside her car. It skids off the road and ends up in this field. She dies almost instantly. Her youngest son is first on scene.
This is the spot where the car bomb exploded that killed Daphne Caruana Galizia. In the months that followed, 3 men were arrested and charged with the attack, but the government were criticised for their slow response, and further investigations followed.
It felt like one long day ever since that moment, because there hasn't been a moment's respite. We had to push against misinformation, disinformation, vilification, lies, blaming my sister for her own death. We've had to push back against all of this. It's been horrendous. So we didn't really have time to think. We just sort of dealt with things as they happened. And here we are today.
By chance, the FBI were on Malta at the time of Daphne's murder. They tracked the assassins' phones, but the 3 men arrested and charged had never been mentioned by Daphne and had no ties to her. 2 years passed until finally a vital piece of information was unearthed.
A Maltese businessman has been arrested as part of the investigation into the murder of a journalist 2 years ago. Jorgen Fenech was detained by armed officers after his yacht was intercepted and searched.
Named the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff. And in quick succession, a minister called Konrad Mitzi resigned, and Keith Gebri resigned, and he was arrested the next day. The connection between those three men is that Jorgen Fenech owns a company called 17 Black, which is registered in the United Arab Emirates. Daphne had mentioned it in her blog. And that company is actually a slush fund through which money is funneled from Azerbaijan through a series of companies into companies in Panama owned by Keith Gebri and Konrad Mitzi.
The arrests started and things began to move. We'd organised our first protest meeting outside Castile. And it was then, I think, we began to realise that the people were really angry.
It was very encouraging to see people finally getting so angry, because people coming to realisations which we had all along. We knew that Daphne's murder was related to her work. We knew likely that Jorgen Fenech was involved. And by association, we also knew who worked with it.
It was just pure emotion. I mean, in the front, I could see Daphne's parents, and I couldn't just imagine what they're going through, and I was angry. It was a lot of frustration, but at the end of the day, it built up to anger with the way things unfolded and the way that justice had not been served, and for 2 entire years we were being lied to again and again, and nothing was being done. If these things happened elsewhere, there would have been resignations on the spot. And yet it took so long for us. It was just a lot of frustration.
We contacted female friends because women get shit done. Daphne was a woman, she was out there alone. And she was targeted the way she was targeted because of her gender.
Daphne was never scared about coming. She always did her job, and she was a strong woman, and she was one of a kind to Malta. And although Malta doesn't really have a particularly favourable view on vocal young women, it is our duty and our responsibility to take a stand so other people would do so, because if no one's going to start, no one's going to follow.
The protests went on for the best part of a month. Eventually, on the 13th of January 2020, Joseph Muscat resigned as Prime Minister.
dak li nħossa għalikom u għal Malta u għaw deċtana. Inħobkom.
How much has changed, do you feel, especially since January? Obviously, I know Muscat's no longer Prime Minister, but how much do you feel has actually changed?
Nothing.
There are people who refuse to believe that their party has done anything, or even if they do believe it, they don't care because it's their party, and as long as they're in power, they don't care. They're happy. It's like when you support a football team, you don't stop supporting it because it makes a mistake or it does something stupid. Yeah, you support it regardless because it's your team. And this is politics in Malta. If it's my party in power, I don't care what they do. As long as they're in power, I'm happy. And that's all that matters.
Here, the most followed television news service is the one provided by the Labour Party. And there is no discussion here that on their medium that Daphne Caruana Galizia got any worse than she deserved. And in that context, then, it becomes very difficult as a country to learn from that experience and to hope we can outgrow it.
RSS World Press Freedom Index showed that press freedom is deteriorating worldwide. Don't give up. Don't give up, because it is a time of transition. So we don't know how things are going to turn out, but that's the whole point. We don't know how things are going to turn out, so don't give up. There has never been a more pressing need for journalism than there is right now.
The future of Malta is still very much up in the air. What is clear is that for the sake of democracy and journalism in this country, whoever is responsible for the death of this brave and astonishing woman must be brought to justice.